Welcome to the Thursday stream. Hope everyone's having an awesome Thursday morning. As you can see, I'm getting into the whole little holiday season. Forgot to turn on these days. Just trying to keep a positive vibe. Ooh. Alright, I think we're good to go. Let me fire up some of the headlines that we gotta go over today. Perfect. Hey, Elio, how's it going? Ooh, I like this song. Hang in there, we got our health. True. Hey, Karen B, how's it going? Hey, Go Past Tech, how's it going? Jungle is massive? What does that mean? This is jungle music? Really? What does that mean? Is that like a genre? Because as far as I know, at least, well, maybe, of course I might be wrong. This is Harris Heller's Stream Beats and Stream Beats EDM. It is a genre. Interesting. Hey, Memius, how's it going? Interesting. Oh, you're French. Cool. How are things there, by the way? I heard things got pretty rowdy over there. Hey, Jesse. How's it going, my friend? I've been working mornings, so I can't chat much, but I still listen in. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Bonjour from Canada. Hey. How's it going? I hope things are okay in Canada. I always find it interesting with the international, I always find it interesting when we have like a more international audience. I live in Texas, but I have the news too. Depending on what you read about France, I can give feedback. Yeah, I mean, basically it seems like there was a massive protest about the police law that you can't post things or you can't film police or you'll have severe penalties or something like that. And it seems like the French government did end up backing out of that. Hey Doc, how's it going? Going okay? How are you doing? I'm chilling, trying to get into the more festive, chill mood. Hey, Carpet Packs with the raid of 32 viewers. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope everyone's doing all right. Thank you, Carpet Packs. I appreciate that. Let me get out of here. Everyone who doesn't follow Carpet Packs should be following Carpet Packs. They postponed part of the law, but people are still pissed about it, and they were talking about rewriting that article yesterday, but the Minister of Police finally realized that there was a structural problem in the police. Oof. But difficult to say if they will do any sensible change. Oof. Thank you so much. I guess we'll see what ends up happening, Pastek. Thank you so much, Carpet Packs. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, folks. See, this is why, as I've learned, and I need to train myself to do this. I need to train myself to do this religiously. I do a mid-roll ad right before I start, just so that I can get rid of the those pesky pre-roll ads. And that hit just in time, because if I'm correct, if I set my settings right, none of you raiders should have had any pre-roll ads. I'm hoping none of you raiders should have had any those pesky pre-roll ads. So the strategy from now on is going to be do one right before and one in the middle, and we have a good chunk of the stream without pre-roll ads, considering Twitch's peskiness with ads. Alright, folks, let's get into some headlines. I do have a couple of them. Let's go over here. Now, as you can see, I got my little snow, even though I live in South Florida, but that's okay, one can dream. And my little lights in the background, and check this out. Got my little lights above me. Alright, folks. Let's get into some headlines, yeah? Cool. Trump's conspiracy theories raise turnout challenges in Georgia Senate runoff. This is both funny and sad, in my opinion. Question everything. The media is lying to you. High-profile supporters of President Trump took the stage in Georgia Wednesday to spread conspiracy theories and tell the state Republicans not to vote in the crucial Senate runoffs for the next month. I 100% support this. I think that if you are a principled Trump supporter, this just makes sense, right? You should absolutely boycott the GOP and teach them a lesson. I'm pretty sure that will work out just fine. Boycott the election. You don't need to worry about the Senate. After all, it's just like 2 seats, right? Nothing important about that. The outcome of those races will determine which party controls the Senate next year, but don't tell them that. At the rally in Atlanta, pro-Trump attorney Lynn Wood took the microphone, telling the crowd that last month's election won by President-elect Joe Biden had been manipulated. Of course, there's no evidence for this. Do not be fooled twice. This is Georgia. We ain't dumb. No, you're not. You voted for Joe Biden. So I guess true? We ain't gonna vote on January 5th on another machine made by China. Oh, no. No. Yeah, just, you know what? Sure, go for it. Go for it. Don't. It's a large conspiracy. There's no need to participate in the January 5th runoff election. However, if you are of a reasonable mind and you do want to make this country slightly better, then I suggest, if you live in Georgia or know people in Georgia, please make sure that you vote in the Georgia runoff on January 5th. Understand that, as I illustrated yesterday, I mean, we went through 3 or 4 different articles, each outlining the danger of the Republican Party, at least this iteration of the Republican Party. Okay? I mean, several instances of Republicans just straight up saying we should throw out the Constitution, straight up saying we should disenfranchise hundreds of thousands of people's votes. This is not the party of the Constitution. This is not the party of freedom. This is not the party of democracy. Should government recognize what someone says? Should government recognize what someone says their gender is? What are you talking about? Hopefully, once the vaccine is ready, we can give any and everyone who isn't willing to get it a Star armband. Oh no. Hey, Francis. I mean, the government recognizes what you say your gender is, I assume. Yeah, like, that's why I'm confused. Why can't Republicans find another leader? Maybe because they like it. What do you mean, egg lover? What are you talking about? Can someone have a gender that is not human? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Where I live, only 40% of the population take the flu vaccine. It's scary. Yeah, this one, in this situation, I recommend that if the oh, okay, so you're one of those. All right. So you're one of those. All right. How can I get cool? Peace. Interesting chat today. Interesting is a very mild word. Where I live, yeah, like, okay, so if we keep seeing promising results from these vaccines, everybody should take this. We need about 70 to 80%, or more than that, to reach herd immunity. If you're tired of this pandemic, if you're tired of the coronavirus, then do your part, okay? Until we can get this thing rolled out, which is probably sometime next year. Stay home if you can. If you have to absolutely go out, wear a mask, social distancing, wash your hands. I mean, if you can't do these things, then we're just gonna keep perpetuating this problem. Secretly, I love the empty streets and bigger internet. True. Hey, Marcavius, how's it going? Oh, I'm sorry. How rude of me. Sweet. Yeah, I kind of feel that, Marcavius, like just chilling, not traffic, less people, but I'm kind of over it, you know. I've felt very frustrated these last like month or two, and I just want, like, I want to be able to do this and just hang out inside my house because I'm very more or less introverted. I'm an introvert playing the part of an extrovert. And I'm perfectly fine just hanging out here at home. I actually prefer it, but I also want to be able to have the option of, you know, being able to do stuff, right? I'm over it. I do music and restaurants and import. Oof. I can only imagine. And what do you mean by you do music? Do you like, are you a performer or? Because that's pretty cool. I also play music. I throw and organize events. I've DJ'd as performance codes. I've written lyrics for other artists, production, I guess. Oh, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Aaron B requested watch a cute animal video. All right, let's do it. We gotta do it, folks. Sorry, I got like super distracted. All right, let me set that up for you. Whoa, jeez, that scared the crap out of me. Oh man. Oh, you did school for it. That's awesome. Yes. This is the kind of stuff we need. Okay, I don't know about like DMCA, so I'm just gonna turn off the sound. Hello, little hedgehog. Oh, that's adorable. Huskies. We do need a good warming vibe. Here we go. Well, this is the good morning vibe. Oh, the chickens. Good doggos, yes. Look at that. Hey. Oh, there we go. Hey. Oh, that's adorable. Those cats do not look amused at all. Those cats do not look amused at all. Oh. Oh. Oh no. Now that is a good rooster friend. Jeez, that is one big pelican. Oh, that's adorable. She's got a little baby koala. A rooster booster. That's right. Cows are one of the most chillest animals. Oh, I've seen this one. This one is I think this one is a meme. Okay, kitty. That's so cool. That's so cool. Oh. Hey. Alright, this is about almost halfway. I'm gonna pause this in case we need more cute animal content. Oh, beluga whales are dope. They're so smart too. I jumped a dirt bike over a herd of cows and they just watched. Yeah, chill. Yeah, cows are super chill. Alright, folks. Let's get into it. Got a few headlines to get into. Thanks, I'm better now. See, that's the power of cute animal videos right there. Whales are cool, very cool, true. Iran scientists. Oh, yeah. I heard about that, Francis. I voted for Ruth Bader Ginsburg over 15 times last month. That's what she would have wanted. That's kind of weird, considering you don't vote for Supreme Court justices. Do you know how our government works? Have you taken like a civics class? Have you ever taken a civics class in your life, Egg Lover? I wrote her in for every position. You're welcome, everyone. High-profile supporters. Oh, this one's for you, Egg Lover. High-profile supporters of President Trump took the stage in Georgia to spread conspiracy theories and tell the state's Republicans to not vote in the crucial state runoffs, in the crucial U.S. Senate runoffs there next month. The outcome of those races will determine which party controls the Senate. So yeah, if you're in Georgia and you're a Trump supporter, you should boycott this election. It's not really important. At the rally in Atlanta, pro-Trump attorney Lin Wood took the microphone telling the crowd that last month's election won by President-elect Joe Biden had been manipulated. Don't be fooled twice. This is Georgia. We ain't dumb. Like I said before, that part is actually true because you guys actually voted for you guys voted for Biden. We ain't gonna go vote on January 5th on another machine made by China, said Wood, who had no former affiliation with the Trump campaign. You're not gonna fool Georgians again. If you're conservative, don't vote. Good idea. I think so too. It's probably better. You know, you don't want to participate in a fraudulent election anyways, right? I read that the majority of Dominion machines were used in the counties that Trump won. Yeah, it's just a meme, patient sloth at this point. Tuesday's rally was one of several that have taken place since November 3rd. At another recent rally, Missy Landers was one of hundreds pro-Trump demonstrators who showed up outside Georgia's Capitol in Atlanta, unmasked, of course, and angry about unproven allegations of widespread election fraud. I've always voted and things like that, but I think we need to know what's going on. What's going on is that you lost the election. She's the kind of reliable Republican voter Georgia's GOP establishment is counting on to hold the 2 Senate seats held by David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. I'd like to remind you, Kelly Loeffler was under investigation for selling off for insider trading right before the coronavirus. I'd like to remind everybody that she is the swamp. Right? These people are embarrassing. Like, just so you know, Egg Lover, just so you know, you're here to provide us entertainment, and you're here to farm. You're here to be farmed for views and engagement, and you're here to be a lolcow. Do you understand that? You're only here to boost my analytics. That's very true, Patient Sloth. Imagine only very recently, just recently, was gay marriage like cemented as legality here in this country. He's probably not 12. He's probably like just here to troll, okay? He's probably here to just troll. So exactly. Exactly. It's like he doesn't read. Are you able to like have any type of reading comprehension? Like do you have any do you have trouble reading words? Markavius just told you. Okay? Markavius just told you that it happens here. Like, I think he actually has trouble, like, reading words. Hey, look, there you go, Astria. Public libraries do have reading programs in case you're having trouble with reading comprehension. I'm gonna leave it alone, man. I feel bad now. Nah. He might have a learning disability. I mean, no, I think that he's just here to troll. I've encountered people like this all the time. All the time. You see? Not really willing to engage and then just flipping it on its head. Who's making fun of learning disabilities? The tolerant left. And you see how he like makes those like little comments? This is a I can't even speak. Look at me. Maybe I'm the one. The telltale signs of a troll. If you ignore him, he'll get bored and go away. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I like that he types like he types letters, and every time he types those letters, it boosts my stuff. So I guess hey, maybe he's actually a maybe he's a crypto comrade and wants the left to succeed by giving more engagement to the channel. Maybe he's like a crypto comrade and wants to boost the engagement so that lefty channels can get more people. Alright. Alright, I'm done playing. You were mildly amusing for like 2 seconds. Just a couple of seconds. Anyways, did you guys bother watching any of Trump's speech? I watched like 3 minutes. When was this? Dr. Heemed coming in with a raid of 28. Oh my goodness. Wow. It's just been crazy today. Wow. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the follow, Witchcast. Oh my goodness. The man, the myth, the legend himself. Thank you for the follow, bless me. Is that the new Sure mic? Yes, it is. Fun with fondue. He gave a 45 minutes last night on how Democrats rigged the election. They won't give me. Oh, okay, great. I think we might have to cover that. Sure is. Wait. Smash that follow, you Marxist. Thank you, Marxist Levensis. Oh, that's so cool, Sebsdev. How's it going? Everybody who doesn't follow Heemed needs to do so. I was there for a good moment. You were doing a great interview with that person. You were doing a great you were doing a cool interview with police brutality. You know, someone who had firsthand experience. Hey, thanks for the follow. Thanks for the follow, Redimus Minor. The constant brainwashing of a phony election when no one... Yeah. Exactly, Alio. Hope you're doing alright. As a Canadian, some of the shit I hear about American cops will my mind, yeah. True. It's funny, like even like some of the like English politicians, um I'll catch you suckers in the next time. Thank you so much, Dr. Heemed. I appreciate that. I'm good. Good to hear. An Alabama cop? Boof. Sorry, Marcavius. I mean, like, even, like, British politicians have been, like, you know, they're like, don't compare us, like, don't compare our police force with their police force, okay? I'm, like, I heard even a conservative politician in England was saying, like, I'm proud to say that the majority of our police force is unarmed. Hey, Revolt Rise. As a South African, I can tell you the cops are shit here too. Yikes. Okay, folks. Since we got like quite the bit to cover, let's start covering some ground. American cops with police in the UK does not make sense at all. No, I know. There's a complete like difference. Maybe Alexandru. That could be a thing. That could be a thing. I don't even know like how I would. I don't even know how I would like. 'Cause it's like obviously, maybe I'd be in favor of something like that, Alexandru. Well, that's right, Witchcast. Any cop, yeah, like we do, but that's true. Brutality is brutality. All right, folks, we got quite the we have quite the ground to cover. That's right. So that like I might be in favor of something like that, Alexandru. I mean, even that Astria would be a step in the right direction. Even like that would be a step in the right direction. Although I would sprinkle more stuff on top of that. I mean, oh, by the way, there was a story where actually a couple of cops were stripped of qualified immunity because of the brutality. It seems like cops are actually taught to escalate. Well, I just think that the type of de-escalation isn't what's taught first, right? The USA didn't have weapons. They could have cops behaving differently, instead getting their weapons ready because they expect to face one and they intervene. That's why I'm saying like it's kind of tough, Pastek. Like it's like maybe something like what Alexandru is proposing is like a good go-between where they still have one. They still have one. They just don't have they just don't have that as a first option. I had a friend who went through cop school and she told me all about it. And it's horrifying. Yeah, depending on the department. Yeah. Yeah, like a independent civic party or board or council. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that, like, that's why I'm saying, like, when we talk about this issue, I think, like, if we reimagine and reinvent the institution known as the police, we can begin to solve some of these problems, right? Something like making better qualifications, something like having independent civic review boards, things like higher de-escalation training, put that first, and to a degree, like, it's what, like, in my personal opinion, I don't think that they need this over militarized equipment, right? This, like, why? I just think that we can do better. Hey, thanks for the follow, Zero Logic Gaming. From what she told me, they really push a narrative that cops are always in danger, so they need to be wary and cautious of everyone. She also said that you subtly get you to have biases towards different people. Yikes. Depending on the department, I've heard similar stories, and depending on who they were trained by, that's also that also makes a difference. All right, folks, we gotta get the show on the road, and a lot of ground to cover. Hold on, folks, making sure I don't miss anybody. All right. Okay, so I think that we should probably cover that Trump speech towards, like, the end. So let me just go ahead and start going through some of these headlines. But like many Republican voters, she believes Trump's false rhetoric that the election was stolen. Of course, there's no evidence for this. And party leaders have begun to worry that the message could deter voters. Yeah, sure, don't vote. All of this news about the ballots, the electronic system, and all different things that happened during the election and is continuing to come out, I don't feel secure about it, says Landers. Yeah, sure. Thanks for the follow, Fun with Fondue. Maybe. I don't know if we could do that. I think that, like, I don't know. I think I would rather say, like, listen, they don't need all of that, like, excess of military gear. That costs money. Maybe we should be pouring that money into something else. Like, they don't need that, right? I mean, exactly, Fun with Fondue. And use that to and use that for whatever it is that you need. Either put programs in place to have higher qualifications, de-escalation training, and pour money into social programs and improve the material conditions of the citizenry that will all alleviate the situation. If you're all curious, I encourage you to look up some of the police budgets for your city. Yeah, some of them are just too much. Some of them are beyond wild. It's like, okay, dudes, what are you doing with all this? I'm pretty sure you could probably reorganize some of that and repurpose some of that to better use. And, like, it's weird because, like, some of these budgets have to be used or else they don't get funding or something like that. It's like a weird catch-22, right? Of how this system works. I don't know. I'd have to look more into it, how the local stuff works, but, like, in my experience, or the way I see it, is that I think they have a set budget and then, like, they have to use it or else they don't get the funding or something like that. Hey, Selena Gomez. Also, no sheriff should be elected officials. When they are elected, it's nearly impossible to remove them. And when they do wrong, my city sheriff is an elected official and he's basically untouchable. I don't know. Alexandru, maybe, but like an elected sheriff is beholden to the people. Like, for example, maybe this is just anecdotal, but for example, my in where I live, we had the power to elect a county sheriff or a local sheriff, and it gave us the opportunity to put someone a little bit more favorable because we paid attention to local elections. Police chiefs are normally appointed. He can be removed on a whim. Okay. I mean, maybe you could replace elected. Maybe you could replace the elected sheriff or police chief with a independent civic council or internal affairs that is completely separate from the police department. Then maybe, because then they would have the power to decide that, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It sounds like the issue here is people to vote. Right, that's another thing. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, we could hold these people accountable. If they mess up, we just vote them out. But that could also be replaced with, okay, we don't have elected sheriffs, but we do have an independent council that can hold these people accountable. I wonder if Cronus thinks that this is my real name. No, I don't think so. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We can do that in Florida, but Republicans dominate all of these counties. Yeah, that's why you gotta pay attention and vote in your local elections. How's it going, Bastard PJ? This one patrol cop made the town $300K in profit. Wow. Yeah, I've been caught in traps before. It always feels bad. It always feels bad. That's like, come on. It almost feels unfair. That's like, but you did do the thing, but at the same time, like, geez. I'm good at the job watching you. I get paid to watch a dead store front and hang out on Twitch. Hey, I'll serve the people. Well, I don't know. The four of them are weak as fuck and always run lame candidates for sheriff. What? His police department had like 3 Humvees? Yeah, do you see, like, okay, clearly, there's no reason why a police department needs 3 Humvees for that small town. I mean, come on. That's what I was saying. Like, the prioritization needs to be rearranged. And used to actually alleviate the problem, right? Like, invest in communities, improve the material conditions of people, reorganize or reinvent the institution known as the police, and that's doing so by implementing stricter qualifications, stricter training, maybe even concurrent training, instead of buying military surplus, maybe you should invest in training, in constant training. I don't know how the budgets work, but Tampa City Council is meeting right now for a special provision to the police budget they just approved for these 3 fancy hybrid police trucks. Cool. Because that's what they need. Kind of working from home is super chill. I have a lot of downtime that I get to chill watching Twitch. Awesome. They deserve Teslas. Tesla patrol cars. Oof. Yikes, Ricks. Nice. Bass of PJ. Hopefully our streamers are getting into some ears. Well, I hope so. That's the idea. Alright, folks. We gotta run through some of these articles. The state certified its election result on November 20 after a hand recount of approximately 5 million paper ballots. A second recount requested by Trump campaign was completed on Wednesday night and did not appreciably change Biden's more than 12,000 vote lead. Yeah, it ain't happening. Sorry. We gotta get a grip on ourselves, people, said former state Senator Chuck Clay, who also once served as the GOP chair, at the state GOP chair. What we can't have is this sense of just conspiratorial madness that I think certainly does the body of politic harm, and I don't think it helps our candidates. Clay enthusiastically supports both Perdue and Loeffler, but as candidates, they've embraced Trump's election fraud theories, calling Georgia's 2020 elections an embarrassment, and going as far as to demand that Republican Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger resign. These messages, along with President Trump's tweet, have clearly reached some Georgia voters. During a recent visit here, Republican National Committee Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel responded to voters by asking why they should participate in the election they no longer trust. It's not decided. This is the key. It's not decided. No, it is decided. On Wednesday, a group of 18 former GOP leaders signed an open letter urging their fellow Republicans to stop undermining the election. Signatories include former Governor Nathan Deal and former U.S. Senators John Isaacson and Saxby Chambliss. Yeah, so sorry, it's over. However, if you are a Trump supporter and you feel like the system is rigged and you don't need to participate in these elections, all the more power to you. And in fact, it's only just 2 senator races. And if you care about draining the swamp, Kelly Loeffler was caught doing insider trading right before the pandemic. So yeah, just saying, if you have any integrity, you would sit this one out, Republicans. You would sit this one out, Trumpers, in Georgia. Georgia Republicans are increasingly worried about President Trump's rally on Saturday for the 2 Senate runoffs. Wait a minute. December 3rd. Oh, there's another one coming. Wow. There's another one. On Saturday for the 2 Senate runoff races, as some embrace a tirade to overturn his loss that could hurt the party's effort to keep control of the chamber. Campaigns for Republican Senator David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler recognize that Trump can fire up his supporters to the January 5th election like no one else in their party can, but in the aftermath of his loss in Georgia, Trump has attacked fellow Republican Governor Brian Kemp and Secretary of State Brian Raffensperger, not only undermining confidence in the integrity of the U.S. elections, but also discouraging some potential Republican voters who now think that the fix is in. Yeah, if you think that the fix is in, what's the point? Maybe you shouldn't vote. A group of prominent Republican officials, including Governor Nathan Deal and Senator, we went over this, released a statement to urging the party to unify and shift their attention to the challenge of protecting their Senate majority. Yeah, the problem is, like, he already did, like, that was just extremely damaging, because, like, okay, you do realize that the presidential, like, you can't say that these elections were rigged when a lot of these Republicans who won House seats are on the same ballot as the presidential election, right? And now that you've placed so much mistrust, so much conspiracy and misinformation, now it's going to come back and bite you in the ass. Which to me, oh well. Trump realizes he can't win. He's doing this for the 2024 hype. You really think he's going to try to run in 2024? I don't know. Why are they even like posting articles like this? Trump says if he's right about the election fraud, Biden can't be president. Okay, so you do realize you need to produce evidence for this, right? Incredible. All right, folks, I'm sorry, but I must torture you with this Trump speech that somebody was talking about. Moon Jae-in must die. I'm not sure what that means. Trump knew in February that COVID was a threat to humanity, told his supporters at rallies that the virus will be gone in summer, which it didn't. Yep, that's right, which killed over 260,000 Americans. Trump has done nothing in his power, only to stop flights from China and America and European bans. He doesn't deserve to be president. True. And also divided the country and destroy American democracy will not be missed. True. See, no problem. If it was rigged, even every Dem would have won. Yeah, something like that. Like, imagine going through the massive conspiracy to overturn a presidential election to the tune of tens of thousands of votes, to the tune, in some states, 100,000 votes. Imagine having that much coordinated effort and then not even bothering to try to rig the senatorial races or the senatorial races or the House races. Could you imagine if the Dems had 100% majority? Yeah, totally nothing suspicious there. All right, so Trump's speech. Is this it over here? This is 12 hours ago. Only Republican I voted for his Auditor General. He was way more qualified than the Dem challenger. Yeah. See, the thing is, it's like, if Republicans would actually offer things, maybe people would like want to vote for them instead of them having to gerrymander and rig everything and engage in voter suppression. We're probably gonna have to double time this so that we have enough time. I'm from the United Kingdom and have political interests around the world. That's awesome. Today we have a semi-international audience. That's awesome. We have someone who is from France, someone from Canada. Oh, Dr. Heemdoud is from Canada, I believe. And now the UK. Cool.
This may be the most important speech I've ever made. I want to provide an update on our ongoing efforts to expose the tremendous voter fraud and irregularities which took place during the ridiculously long November 3rd elections. We used to have what was called Election Day. Now we have election days, weeks and months, and lots of bad things happened during this
weeks and months. What are you talking about, bro?
This ridiculous period of time, especially when you have to prove almost nothing to exercise our greatest privilege, the right to vote. As president, I have no higher duty than to defend the laws and the Constitution of the United States. That is why I am determined to protect our election system, which is now under coordinated assault and siege.
Coordinated
For months
assault.
leading up to the presidential election, we were warned that we should not declare a premature victory. We were told repeatedly that it would take weeks, if not months, to determine the winner, to count the absentee ballots, and to verify the results.
Thank you for the follow, Dick Chucktovix.
My opponent was told to stay away from the election. Don't campaign. We don't need you. We've got it. This election is done. In fact, they were acting like they already knew what the outcome was going to be. They had it covered, and perhaps they did, very sadly for our country. It was all very strange. Within days after the election, we witnessed an orchestrated effort to anoint a winner, even while many key states were still being counted. The constitutional process must be allowed to continue. We are going to defend the honesty of the vote by ensuring that every legal ballot is counted and that no illegal ballot is counted.
Okay. You can't talk about upholding the Constitution while your party, as I went over yesterday, I highly recommend you guys check out that VOD yesterday. Maybe I'll clip it and make it into a YouTube video. You can't claim to be the party of the Constitution. You can't claim to be the party of the Constitution and also say to throw out the Constitution, declare martial law, throw out ballots, overturn certified results of elections. Like, you can't tell me, you can't claim to uphold the Constitution in one hand and then spit on it in the other. This guy's a douche, and I'm not talking about the president, you shrimp. Aww. Are we having some copium problems?
Of 74 million Americans who voted for me, it's about ensuring that Americans can have faith in this election and in all future elections. Today I will detail some of the shocking irregularities, abuses, and fraud that have been revealed in recent weeks. But before laying out just a small portion of the evidence we have uncovered, and we have so much evidence, I want to explain the corrupt mail-in balloting scheme that Democrats systematically put into place that allowed voting to be altered, especially in swing states, which they had to win.
Exactly, Rodimus Minor.
That it was going to be that tough because we were leading in every swing state by so much, far greater than they ever thought possible. While it has long been understood that the Democrat political machine engages in voter fraud from Detroit to Philadelphia to Milwaukee, Atlanta, so many other places, what changed this year was the Democrat Party's relentless push to print and mail out tens of millions of ballots sent to unknown recipients with virtually no safeguards of any kind. This allowed fraud and abuse to occur on a scale never seen before. Using the pandemic as a pretext, Democrat politicians and judges drastically changed election procedures just months and in some cases weeks before the election on the 3rd of November.
Due to the pandemic, they had to readjust the way we have our voting system. Yeah, no shit.
Very rarely were legislatures involved, and constitutionally they had to be involved. But very, very rarely, and you'll see that as we continue to file our suits, it's constitutionally absolutely incorrect what took place, even from a legal standpoint. Many states, such as Nevada and California, sent millions of live ballots to every person on their voter rolls, whether those individuals had requested ballots or not, whether they were dead or alive.
Receiving an absentee ballot doesn't mean you cast it. You dimwit.
They got ballots. Other states, such as Minnesota, Michigan, and Wisconsin, instituted universal absentee balloting right in the middle of an election year, sending absentee ballot request forms to all voters on all rolls. It didn't matter who they were. This colossal expansion of mail-in voting opened the floodgates to massive fraud. It's a widely known fact that the voting rolls are packed with people who are not lawfully eligible to vote, including those who are deceased, have moved out of their state, and even are non-citizens of our country. Beyond this, the records are riddled.
Oh, no. First of all, even if that was true, that doesn't mean they voted. Just because your name is on a voter roll doesn't mean you voted. You submitting a ballot is you voting. You being on a voter roll does not mean you voted. Jesus Christ, these are two separate things, and he keeps conflating them to paint this picture of widespread massive fraud over the entire country. A coordinated effort. Didn't Trump move out of Florida and then he voted there? Yeah, like, just because you are on a voter roll does not mean you voted. And Milwaukee's crying about the full count of ballots finished about 3:45 a.m. on November 4th when the city totals flipped the state. Stay mad, Trump. Stay mad.
With errors, wrong addresses,
Stay crying.
duplicate entries, and many other issues. This is not disputed. It has never been disputed. Dozens of counties in the key swing states have more registered voters on the rolls than they have voting
That's right,
age
Karen B. No,
including
all
67
hype and
counties in
innuendos.
Michigan. All of this is evidence. In Wisconsin, the state's Board of Elections could not confirm the residency of more than 100,000 people, but repeatedly refused to remove those names from its voter rolls before the election. They knew why, nobody else did. I knew why.
Anyway.
It is a travesty that in the year 2020, we do not have any means of verifying the eligibility of those who cast ballots in an election, and such an important election,
Damn.
or determining who they are.
We actually do, but okay. What? We actually do. Like, for example, one of your supporters tried to vote twice. You know what happened to her? She got caught and was charged with a felony. So don't tell me we don't have systems to verify. Aww. Is this another Coper? You okay, Cushpox? You okay? Yeah, and that's another point, Patient Sloth. They didn't even pass an election security bill that's, by the way, still sitting in Mitch McConnell's desk. Just another person hooked on the copium. Sorry to hear that, Cushpox.
Whether they live in the state or whether they are even American citizens. We have no idea. We have in all swing states major infractions or outright fraud, which is far more in numbers or votes than we need to overturn the results of a state. In other words, in Wisconsin, as an example, where we were way up on election night,
Way up.
they ultimately had us miraculously losing by 20,000 votes. And I can show you right here that Wisconsin, we're leading by a lot. And then at 3:42 in the morning, there was this. It was a massive dump of votes.
Yeah.
Mostly Biden. Almost all
Damn.
Biden.
Damn. Maybe you should have told your dim-witted supporters to actually vote by mail.
And to this day, everyone's trying to figure out, where did it come from?
Where did it come from? I'll tell you. It came from the people who voted by mail. You man-child.
But I went from leading by a lot to losing by a little. And that's right here. That's at 3:42 in the morning. That's Wisconsin. A terrible thing.
A terrible thing.
But we will have far more, many times more, than the 20,000 votes needed to overturn the state. If we are right about the fraud, Joe Biden can't be president. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of votes. We're talking about numbers like nobody has ever seen before.
Nobody's ever seen before.
We'll be down by, let's say, 7,000 votes. But we'll find later on 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 discrepancies or fraudulent votes. And that includes votes that went through when they were not allowed to be seen by Republican poll watchers.
That's
because
also
the poll
false.
watchers were locked out of the building.
That's also false.
People that innocently came to vote on November 3rd, who were all excited about their vote, they were happy. They were proud to be citizens of the United States of America. And they went up and they
Nice,
said, "I'd like
Rick.
to vote." And they were told that they can't vote. I'm sorry, they were told. I'm sorry. You've already voted.
Trump raised his
by mail-in
Yep,
ballot.
that's right.
Congratulations.
Tens of millions undermining
We
democracy
received
and
the
telling
ballot,
us support
so you
this
can no
election was
longer vote.
fraudulent. This is the most dangerous
They didn't know what
president.
to do.
True.
They had no.
Bye-bye. China Joe with this to our country. Keep coping. Hey, listen, buddy. You're only here to bring me engagement, and you're only here to be farmed for engagement and the lols. Dumps. And Trump universe will recount the whole election. Trump asked for another 180 million to recount since certifications have been done. Yeah, sure. Listen, he can recount all he wants. It's never going to change the election results, okay? Sorry.
No one to complain to. Most just left and said.
But you're right,
"That's strange."
Travis. The most dangerous
But many
person,
people complained and
president.
complained
Goodbye.
Vehemently. And in a lot of cases, they filled out a provisional ballot, which was almost never used, but in virtually every case was a vote for Trump. In other words, they went in to vote, and they were told that they voted. And they didn't vote. And they left, and they felt horror.
All
They
right.
lost respect for our system.
All
And
right.
this happened tens of thousands of times.
Tens
all over
of thousands.
That's how desperate the Democrats were. They would fill out ballots of people, not even knowing if these people were going to show up. And when they did show up, they said, sorry, you've already voted. And on top of everything else, we have a company that's very suspect. Its
Very
name is
suspect.
Dominion. Turn of
Dominion.
a dial or the change of a chip, you can press a button for Trump, and the vote goes to Biden. What kind of a system is this? We have to go to paper.
It's a system that
Maybe it
only
takes longer.
exists in your head, my friend. It only exists in your head. It only exists in your head, my friend. So the idea that there is some massive conspiracy to change the votes in that manner is just not true. And furthermore, if you communist oh, hey, listen, buddy, it's okay, little snowflake, you'll be fine.
But the only secure system is paper, not these systems that nobody
How do
understands.
you think
including-
these things are counted? You do realize we vote with paper ballots, right? We grab the paper. I don't know if Trump's ever voted. You grab a piece of paper, that's your ballot, you fill it out, and then you scan it so that it gets counted. You don't press a button. Trump tweets dumps and whining these conspiracies are based on the 1980s system. Yeah, this is all nonsense. I don't live in that, so why do you even care?
In many cases, the people that run them,
Imagine.
unfortunately, I think they understand them far too well. In one
Oh, I
Michigan
know it's a
county, as an example,
I know the U.S. is a laughing stock. It's sitting right here in front of us. Look at that. The U.S. is a laughing stock. Look, it's sitting right in front of us, in all its orange glory.
that used Dominion systems. They found that nearly 6,000 votes had been wrongly switched from Trump to Biden. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is what we caught.
The
How
tip.
many didn't we catch? Are there hundreds of other examples throughout the country? Are there thousands? We just got lucky, and they called it a glitch. But we found numerous glitches that evening. 96% of the company's political donations
Hey.
went to Democrats,
Sweet.
not surprisingly.
Cool.
And frankly,
Hey, Trump, buddy, pal, friend. Are you going to present just one shred of evidence? Just one shred of evidence. Just one of widespread, massive voter fraud. Just one shred of evidence. Your own Justice Department, your own Attorney General, right? Your little lapdog, William Barr, said there's no claims of widespread fraud. Period.
when you look at who's running the company, who's in charge, who owns it, which we don't know, where are the votes counted, which we think are counted in foreign countries, not in the United States, Dominion is a disaster. Election authorities in Texas have repeatedly blocked the deployment of Dominion systems due to concerns about security.
That's right, Selena
vulnerabilities,
Gomez Queen.
and the potential for errors and outright fraud.
I wonder who
Every
in the
district
staff
that
thought,
uses
oh,
Dominion
it's
systems
him. This is all him.
must be carefully monitored and carefully investigated, but not only for the future. Right now, we're worried
Damn,
about the president.
good thing
and what went on
nobody
with an
here thinks Biden is an angel.
election that we won without question.
Not
Under my
me,
lead,
at
the
least.
Republicans won almost every state house in the United States, which they weren't expected to do. We went up to 16 seats in the House. The numbers are still being tabulated because
We went up to 16 seats in the House. So were the elections fraudulent or not? Like, imagine having these House candidates on the same ballot. This is the same ballot that is also fraudulent, by the way. They won, but somehow we can't square that. This is so embarrassing. In the same speech, he says that the Republicans flipped 16 houses on the same ballot as the presidential one. Yet somehow there's massive fraud. Hey, wait a minute. Are you saying that the Republican Party made a massive fraud to try to flip the House?
there are 9 seats that nobody really knows. They don't know. They're still, 2 weeks later, still under consideration because it's a mess. Republicans were supposed to lose many seats, and instead they won those seats in the House. And a very important election that's coming up, will determine whether or not we hold the Senate. David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler are two tremendous people.
Stop the count, recount the votes. Republicans won seats in the House, but somehow those ballots also are the same fraudulent ballots that flipped the presidential election. Do you see how all of these things make absolutely no sense? Exactly, Astria. Because people vote against Trump, but if you don't worship Trump and you're evil, stupid, yeah, exactly. Hello, how do you do? I am a fellow right-winger. How can I help save this election? You don't.
They're using the same horrible Dominion system, and it's already been out that hundreds of thousands, think of it, hundreds of thousands of absentee ballots have been requested. You check it out, who's requesting those ballots. The difference is, it's one state, and we will have our eyes on it like nobody's ever watched anything before.
Like nobody's ever watched.
Senate seats. The tremendous success we had.
No, you don't. You need to teach the GOP a lesson and not vote.
House of Representatives.
Kidding, that's what I say to troll righties.
The tremendous success we've had so far in the Senate. Unexpected success all over the country and right here in Washington. It is statistically impossible.
Nah, they're memeing. They're memeing.
Charge lost. The greatest pollsters, the real pollsters, not the ones that had us down 17 points in Wisconsin when we
the real
won.
pollsters. Sorry.
The ones that had us down 4 or 5 points in Florida and we won by many points. Or had us even and down in Texas and we won by a lot.
A lot.
Not those pollsters, but real pollsters.
The real pollsters that show me winning.
Fair and honest. Said we can't understand a thing like this. It's never happened before. You led the country to victory and you were the only one that was lost. It's not possible.
That's right. All he has is this microphone.
State said, sir, I expected to lose my seat. And instead, because of you, and because of that incredible charge and all of those rallies, we had a tremendous victory. And everybody knows it. You were much more popular than me, sir, except I got many more votes than you did. And it's impossible that that happened. There is something wrong. I'll tell you what's wrong. Voter fraud. Here's an example. This is Michigan.
I mean, how stupid do you have to be? He's literally telling you that his Republican friend in the House won his election on the same ballot that was the presidential election. The same fraud. Remember, this is the same fraudulent ballot. I mean, how stupid do you have to be?
At 6:31 in the morning, a vote dump of 149,772 votes came in.
He's not even funny.
We were winning by a lot. That batch was received in horror. Nobody knows anything about it. By the way, there's your line. This is one of many. Here's what is normal.
Kush, so you said you're not from here. Both parties have their issues, but only one party wants to destroy democracy. Only one party has openly called for martial law and the dissolvement of the Constitution. Only one party has asked to overturn the will of the people, and that's the Republican Party. So don't tell me that both parties have their issues. Nah, I highly reject that. Like, you can criticize the Democrats all day. There's plenty of things to talk about. There's plenty of things to talk about their failure in leadership. Obviously, we can definitely talk about that. But the idea that like they're even remotely the same is just not true.
And all of a sudden, look at that. This is normal. Normal. Look, even here, normal. And then boom, all of a sudden, I go from winning by a lot to losing a tight race. It's corrupt. Detroit is corrupt.
Detroit is corrupt.
They know it, but Detroit is totally corrupt. Look at this. Look at this.
Exactly,
That's
Purple-Eyed Dragon.
6:31 in the morning. Unexpectedly came in. In the recent recount
So
in
he's
Georgia,
not giving
which
up the
means
presidency? No, he's
nothing
not.
because they don't want to check signatures. And if you're not going to check signatures in Georgia, it doesn't work. But we have a Secretary of State and a governor who made it very difficult to check signatures. Why? You'll have to ask them. But without a signature match or check, it doesn't matter. They found thousands and thousands of votes.
Thousands and thousands.
All against me. This was during a recount.
All against me.
They found many
I
thousands
won.
of votes.
Where?
That recount didn't matter. The one that matters is the one that's going on now. That because of the fact it's so close, they had to, by law, give another recount. But the recount has to be a recount.
I don't know zero logic.
Otherwise, they're just checking the same dishonest thing. It won't matter. In this case, the signatures on envelopes are the only thing that is relevant. We will compare the signature on the envelope to the signatures from past elections, and we will find
silencing the opposition. My free speech.
Signed these ballots.
Where? What are you talking about, dude? What Democrat Democratic official has proposed a legislation in Congress to silence the opposition. You know what silencing the opposition is? This orange asshat here trying to overturn the will of the people.
Illegally. The Democrats had this election rigged right from the beginning. They used the pandemic, sometimes referred to as the China virus, where it originated, as an excuse to mail out tens of millions of ballots, which ultimately led to a big part of the fraud, a fraud that the whole world is watching. And there is no one.
Is this behavior what Trump declares background season 3? Yeah, pretty much. It's Alio, it's one giant con.
Dead people by the thousands. In fact, dead people, and we have many examples.
The will of the DNC. What are you trying? Are you okay? Are you okay, buddy? I understand you don't know how our system works, but the DNC doesn't decide elections. What are you talking about? They decide primaries. They decide primaries. Yeah, it is a con.
Words, dead people went through a process. Some have been dead for 25 years. Millions of votes were cast illegally in the swing states alone. And if that's the case, the results of the individual swing states must be overturned, and overturned immediately. Some people say that's too far out. That's too harsh.
That's too
harsh. Does that mean we take a president, and we've just elected a president, where the votes were fraudulent? No, it means you have to turn over the election. And everybody knows,
100%.
without going much further,
the DNC doesn't decide general elections. What are you talking about? Like, I understand you. Maybe you should brush up on American politics or American civics before you like talk nonsense. The DNC decides primaries. The RNC decides primaries.
But they don't want to talk about it. What a disaster this election was. A total catastrophe.
Total
catastrophe. We're going to show it. And hopefully the courts in particular, the Supreme Court of the United States, will see it. And respectfully, hopefully they will do what's right.
Oh, so you have no proof. You're just talking.
Our country cannot live with this kind of an election.
So you're just talking.
Say, let's go on
it's called critical thinking. And if you believe everything they say, then you have the issue.
Maybe you'll have a revote, but I don't think that's appropriate.
But it's a problem because I actually can't produce any evidence. So I'm just going to say these random
thoughts
that make no sense.
What a whiny man-child. True.
The evening of the election. So we're not looking to show you 25 faulty or fraudulent votes, which don't mean anything because it doesn't overturn the state, or 50 or 100. We're showing you hundreds of thousands, far more than we need, far more than the margin, far more than the law requires. We can show many times what is necessary to win the state. The media knows this, but they don't want to report it.
So in fact, you don't want to produce any evidence
to even cover it, because they know the result if they do. Even what I'm saying now will be demeaned and disparaged, but that's okay. I just keep on going forward because I'm representing 74 million people, and in fact, I'm also representing all of the people that didn't vote for me. The mail-in voting scam is the latest part of their 4-year effort to overturn the results of the 2016 election, and it's been like living in hell. Our opponents have proven many times, again and again, that they will say and do anything to get back into power. The corrupt forces who are registering dead voters and stuffing ballot boxes are the same people who have perpetrated one phony and fraudulent hoax after another. You've been watching it now for 4 years. These entrenched interests oppose our movement because we put America first. They don't put America first. And we're returning power to you, the American people. They don't want America first. They only want power for themselves. They want to make money. That's why they don't want me as your president. I've been investigated from soon after I announced I was running for president, when I immediately went to #1 in the Republican primary polls. The investigations never stopped. They went on for 4 years. And I won them all. I beat them all. Russia, Russia, Russia. The impeachment hoax, and so much more. Robert Mueller spent $48 million of taxpayer money investigating me for 2.5 years, issued over 2,800 subpoenas, executed nearly 500 search warrants, issued 230 orders for communications records, and conducted 500 witness interviews, all looking to take me down. There was no collusion in the end, none whatsoever. Senator Marco Rubio, the head of the Senate Intelligence Committee, stated the committee found no evidence that then candidate Donald Trump or his campaign colluded with the Russian government. And I thank Senator Rubio for that statement. Now I hear that these same people that failed to get me in Washington have sent every piece of information to New York so that they can try to get me there. It's all been gone over and over again. For $48 million, you go through tax returns, you go through everything. The New York Attorney General, who recently ran for office, campaigned without knowing me, stating, "We will join with law enforcement and other attorneys general across this nation in removing this president from office." I never met her. It's important that everybody understands, she
That's
said,
right.
that the days of Donald Trump are coming to an end. And all it's been is a big investigation.
One of the key factors of
in
democracy is
Washington,
peaceful transition
New
of
York,
power, but yeah,
any place else
exactly.
that can
True.
investigate. Because that's what they want to do. They want to take not me, but us down. And we can never let them do that. Everything's been looked at. A friend of mine who's very smart said, you've probably seen more than anybody else. You've probably been investigated more than anybody else. And for you to come out with a clean bill of health makes you probably the cleanest person in this country. Some people in this
What?
administration, but fortunately not all, have been beaten down and disparaged. They just disappeared. Nobody knows what happened to them. Why aren't they active? Why aren't they involved? There's so much to be involved in. The corruption is so rampant. They just couldn't take it anymore. They were threatened by Democrats with impeachment, and horrible things were said about them, and they're good people. Even recently, the head of the GSA was hounded and harassed, as she reported, like she has never been before. What can I say? We caught Comey cold. We caught McCabe cold. We caught them all. We're still waiting for a report from a man named Durham, who I have never spoken to and I have never met. They can go after me before the election as much as they want. But unfortunately, Mr. Durham didn't want to go after these people or have anything to do with going after them before the election. So who knows if he is ever going to even do a report. But if you look at the lies and the leaks and the illegal acts and behavior done by so many people in their desire to hurt the President of the United States, something should happen. The hardest thing I have to do is explain why nothing is happening with all of these people that got caught spying on my campaign. It's never happened before.
Oh my
and it should
God,
never happen
spying
again
on your
to the
campaign.
President of the United States. All you have to do is watch the hearings and see for yourself. The evidence is overwhelming.
True.
The fraud that we've collected in recent weeks is overwhelming, having to do with our election. Everyone is saying, wow, the evidence is overwhelming when they get to see it. But really, it's too late to change the course of an election. It's too late to change the outcome. In fact, there is still plenty of time to certify the correct winner of the election. And that's what we're fighting to do. But no matter when it happens, when they see fraud, when they see false votes, and when those votes number far more than is necessary, you can't let another person steal that election from you. All over the country, people are
Oh
together
my God.
and holding up signs, stop the steal. To understand how we will challenge this fraud, it is important to know the problems with mail-in balloting. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Nevada, Georgia, Arizona, and most other states allowed anyone to get an absentee ballot and cast their vote without showing any ID. The voting took place entirely on the honor system. No identification of any kind was required. Most Americans would also be shocked to learn that no state in the country verifies United States citizenship as a condition for voting in federal elections. This is a national disgrace.
Wait.
No other advanced country conducts elections this way.
Wait.
Many European countries have instituted major
that's not
restrictions
true.
on mail-in voting specifically because they recognize the nearly unlimited potential for fraud. Out of 42 European nations, all but 2 prohibit absentee ballots entirely for people who reside inside the country, or else they require those who need absentee ballots to show a very, very powerful ID. Throughout the Democrat effort
What?
to dramatically expand mail-in voting, the Democrat Party leaders were also feverishly working to block measures designed to protect against fraud, such as signature verification, residency verification, or voter ID. And citizenship confirmation was almost unthought of that we should ask for it. Can you believe this? These are not the actions of people who want fair elections. These are the actions of people who want to steal elections, who are willing to create fraud. The only conceivable reason why you would block common sense measures to verify legal eligibility for
Trump and Rudy believe this? Right. I mean, the idea that there's like this massive scheme, that there's just this massive scheme to overturn hundreds of thousands of ballots on different states, it's just not true.
voting is you are trying to encourage, enable, solicit, or carry out fraud. It is important for Americans to understand that these destructive changes to our election laws were not a necessary response to the pandemic. The pandemic simply gave the Democrats an excuse to do what they have been trying to do for many, many years. In fact, the very first bill that House Democrats introduced when Nancy Pelosi became Speaker was an attempt to mandate universal mail-in voting and eliminate measures such as voter ID, which is so necessary. Dramatically eroding the integrity of our elections was the Democrats' #1 priority for a simple reason. They wanted to steal the 2020 presidential election. All of the Democrat efforts to expand mail-in balloting laid the groundwork for the systematic and pervasive fraud that occurred in this election. In Pennsylvania, large amounts of mail-in and absentee ballots were processed illegally and in secret in Philadelphia and Allegheny counties without our observers present. They were not allowed to be present. In fact, they weren't even allowed in the same room. They were thrown out of the building, and they looked from outside in, but they had no way of even seeing because there were no windows, and the windows that were there were boarded up. Democrats even went to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court to block observers from receiving access. There is only one possible reason that the corrupt Democrat political machine would oppose transparency during the vote counting. It's because they know they are hiding illegal activity. It's very simple. This is an egregious, inexcusable, and irreversible harm that stains the entire election. Yet this unprecedented practice of excluding our observers, our vote watchers, as some people call them, occurred in Democrat-run cities and key states all across the nation. Here are just some of the additional facts that we've uncovered. Many voters all across Pennsylvania received 2 ballots in the mail, and many others received mail-in ballots for which they never applied. So many got ballots, they didn't even know what they were for. And again, so many received more than one ballot, in some cases more than 2 ballots.
And literally said Biden ballots were brought in by vans and trash cans.
In Fayette County,
I voted in California for the first time this year, and they did not check my ID, just asked for name and address.
County, Pennsylvania, a poll watcher overheard
Yeah, I mean, that would tell you if you're registered.
Tens of thousands of voters across Pennsylvania were treated differently based on whether they were Republicans or Democrats. Voters who submitted flawed ballots in some Democrat precincts were notified and asked to fix their ballots, while Republican precincts, and in particular Republican voters, were not so notified, which plainly violates the Equal Protection Clause of the United States Constitution. If you were a Democrat, we're going to fix up your ballot, make sure it's perfect. If you were a Republican,
no,
don't even
there's
talk
systems
about it.
in place
Michigan,
to catch that,
Alio.
Alio.
Detroit witnessed city workers coaching voters to vote straight Democrat while accompanying them to watch who they were voting for, violating the law and the sanctity of the secret ballot. You can't do that. The same worker says she was instructed not to ask for any ID and not to attempt to validate any signatures. She was also told to illegally backdate ballots, many, many ballots, received after the deadline. This is something that is so unconstitutional. And she estimates that thousands and thousands of ballots were improperly backdated by her and many others. Other witnesses in Detroit also saw election officials
who
counting
wrote
batches
this?
of the same ballots.
I don't know.
Many
He
times,
probably
as well as
did
illegally
this himself.
ballots. One observer testified to
Oh
seeing
my
boxes and boxes of
goodness.
ballots, all bearing the same signature. Another
Thank you
observer
for the
in Detroit gave sworn
subscription,
testimony
Mano.
that he saw countless invalid ballots
Wow.
that did not belong
Hitting
to
that
properly
prime.
registered voters, and
Hitting
then
that prime
witnessed election
sub.
workers in Wayne County entering fake birth dates into the system in order to illegally count them. Witnesses have signed sworn affidavits. In other words, you go to jail if you lie, testifying that after election officials announced
Yeah,
the
that's
last absentee
true.
votes had
Wait a
been
minute,
received.
that's true. A few people did go to jail. Few people did get caught trying to vote twice. Yes. And those few people, they got caught. The systems in place to stop this worked. And yeah. Gee. You're right.
A batch of tens of thousands of ballots arrived, many without envelopes, all voting for Democrats. In Wisconsin, a record number of voters were categorized as indefinitely confined, a status reserved for severely disabled individuals, also for the elderly, that allow them to vote without showing ID. Last year, approximately 70,000 people claimed this status statewide. This year, the number miraculously was nearly 250,000 voters after election officials in Milwaukee and Dane counties, a couple of the most corrupt political places in our country, urged citizens to improperly register under this status. And register they did, in levels that don't exist. In Wisconsin, there are approximately 70,000 absentee ballots that do not have matching ballot applications as required by law. In Georgia, 9 observers have testified to seeing countless irregular ballots without the creases or typical markings indicating that the ballots did not arrive in envelopes as required. A poll watcher in Fulton County estimated that approximately 98% of the large number of unusually pristine ballots that she witnessed were for Biden. A highly unusual number. In addition, thousands of uncounted ballots were discovered in Floyd, Fayette, and Walton counties weeks after the election. And these ballots were mostly from Trump voters. They weren't counted. They were from Trump voters. In Detroit, everybody saw the tremendous conflict and the horrible way that the 2 Republican canvassers were treated, so horribly, because they wouldn't vote when they saw that 71% of the precincts didn't balance. And also, there were more votes than there were voters. Think of that. You had more votes than you had voters. That's an easy one to figure. And by the thousands. In Arizona, in-person voters whose ballots produced error messages from tabulation machines were told to press a button that resulted in their votes not being counted. Also in Arizona, the Attorney General announced that mail-in ballots had been stolen from mailboxes and hidden under a rock. In Clark County, Nevada, where most of the state's voters reside, the standards for matching a signature using the signature verification machine were intentionally lowered to allow large numbers of ballots to be counted that otherwise would never have passed muster. This machine was set at the lowest level. According to one report, in order to test the process, 9 voters in Clark County cast ballots.
Can I ask you a serious question? Kamala was known, California DA was known by many people for locking up the majority of black people for minor drug offenses, and yet after all these years, people ignored it and voted for her anyways. Maybe I don't know logic behind politics, but isn't voting for the lesser evil kind of pointless? No. No. You should always, in my opinion, do less bad, okay? And yes, Kamala Harris has had questionable decisions in the past. She has done some cringy stuff. So we could go over the history of Joe Biden as well. There's so much to criticize, but when you talk about the options given to you in front, I'm going to answer you for real. I'm going to answer you for real. If you are given the choice to do less bad, even if it's just marginally less bad, you should always pick that option. In my moral code or moral, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, if you have the option of more bad or less bad, you should always choose the option to do less bad. And as Mono just stated, you're always technically voting for the lesser evil. And the other option would be just voting, would just be making it worse, right? So given the choices, it's like you're never going to have a perfect candidate. So I don't understand. There are more than enough reasons not to support Harris. Yeah, I get that. 100%. And it's true. But in my opinion, you should always try to do less bad in the world. Right. That's kind of funny, Patient Sloth. The supposed party of law and order attacks, I think that's maybe why she was chosen. But either way, to answer your question seriously, since you asked seriously, in my opinion, I think it's just a matter of always choosing to do less bad. Okay? That's all. The most recent thing I dropped in Discord. All right. Did you put it in general or did you put it in things to review? Oh, here we are. Trump reportedly praised QAnon in a strategy meeting with Mitch McConnell, calling them the people who basically believe in a good movement. Oh, no. QAnon, he said, mispronouncing the name, telling those who present is made up of people who basically believe in good movement. The room was silent again before Mark Meadows, the White House chief of staff, leaned forward to say that he had never heard it described this way. Trump had seriously praised QAnon. Yikes. Yeah, this is dangerous. I don't think I don't think the president should be praising QAnon. I can't wait to see how people justify. Well, no, the people who um, the people want him to give continuous shout outs to them. That's his base. It's just going to get worse without parties. Even in Europe, it has been a problem. What has been a problem? Corruption. I mean, you want to address, like, okay, I don't know. You know, you said you lived in the UK. At least here, I think if you want to really engage with the problems of the parties, it's up to the constituents. You got to get out there. Because the establishment, you know, the Democratic corporate wing doesn't care. You got to make them care. The Republican corporate wing doesn't care. You've seen the type of failings they've had. And if you want to change anything, in my opinion, I think we should pay attention to local elections. And I think that, at least here in America, we should be moving towards some type of ranked choice voting and make this a more democratic system. That's right, Doc. QAnon strokes Trump's ego, therefore they are good. As is always with the case with the Trump, appeals to his vanity, and he will use to fill the black hole of narcissism. Yep, that's right. Oh, don't worry, guys. It's actually even worse. Oh, cool. So, the QAnoner who won her seat in the House. Oof. No wonder he believes in this, like, giant conspiracy that they're trying to steal the election from him. If you put a map, education by county, overlay with counties voted for Trump, it's, yeah, very telling. That's true. Trump is learning about QAnon. Yeah, it seems like it, and it seems like because he has such such a support, that could potentially be a problem. That could absolutely be a potential problem, especially as we get closer to Inauguration Day. Especially as we get closer to Inauguration Day. I mean, what are they going to do when they certify all of the results of the election? What are they going to do when the electoral people get together and do the votes? Hey, Aronok, how's it going? I'm chilling. What's really sad is the world is laughing at us over this election, laughing at both Biden and Trump. Yeah, there's nothing to be excited about. There's not much to be excited about Joe Biden, other than, hey, we should probably continue to hold his feet in the fire. We need to keep pushing back against these horrible picks. We need to make sure that he understands the severity of the implications of not delivering any type of palpable results when it comes to the coronavirus, when it comes to the economic relief. If he doesn't address these things, it will spell disaster. Just lock him in. Just lock him in. I feel like Biden is in the early stages of dementia. You think so? I know I've heard a lot of people talk about this, sometimes even from the own Democratic the own DNC has talked about or has shown concerns about this. Maybe we should leave that to the doctors. I mean, if he can do the job, he can do the job, right? This will be the Harris administration. Who knows?
With intentionally incorrect signatures, and 8 of the 9 ballots were accepted. And
so you do realize signatures change all the time, right?
They said you could sign your name as Santa Claus, and it would be accepted. Last week, the Clark County Commission threw out the results of a local election.
That's also true, Astria.
Reported finding, quote,
that's also true,
that we can't explain. Also in Nevada, some voters were entered into a raffle for more than a dozen gift cards worth as much as $250 if they could prove they had voted. This took place on Indian reservation.
So this is a video that went viral on Twitter, of course. What he's talking about is, I think, voter workers or something, what seems to be like poll workers or something, giving out raffles for voting. To my understanding, that was just a video of them showing gift cards. They didn't say you were going to receive these gift cards if you voted for Biden. They didn't say you were going to be raffled if you voted for Trump or voted for Biden or voted for whoever they told you to vote for. It was just people who had vote shirts on, like hashtag vote shirts or whatever, holding gift cards and talking about a raffle. Nothing further from context to indicate that these groups were giving out these cards in exchange for votes for Biden. There's no evidence of that. It was just like a 30-second clip posted by OANN, of course. Until we have further context, we can't say that this was specifically in exchange for votes for one candidate or another.
One of the most significant indications of widespread fraud is the extraordinarily low rejection rates for mail-in ballots in many key states. These are the states that I had to win. In swing state after swing state, the number of ballots rejected has been dramatically lower than what would have been expected based on prior experience. That means years and years of voting. In Georgia, just 0.2%, that's substantially less than 1%, of mail-in ballots have been rejected. In other words, almost none have been rejected. They took everything. Nothing was rejected practically.
What?
Compared to 6.4% in 2016, and there are those that think that 6.4 was a low number. So think of it, almost none were rejected. And
do you think
the previous election, 6.4% were rejected.
What? Do you think maybe it's because there was a lot of more mail-in ballots? Okay.
Seen similar declines in Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Michigan. Ballots weren't rejected, especially if they happen to be in Democrat areas. These irregularities are inexplicable unless there is a deliberate effort to accept ineligible ballots or fraudulent ballots. In Pennsylvania, the Secretary of State and the state Supreme Court, in essence, abolished signature verification requirements just weeks prior to the election in violation of state law. You're not allowed to do that. It has to be approved by the legislature. A judge can't do it. A state can't do it. An official can't do it. The only one that can do it is the legislature. The reason for this is clear. They were not verifying signatures because they know the ballots have not been filled out by the voters in whose names they were cast. In other words,
but how do you...
people filled them out that had nothing to do with the names on the ballot. A simple recount of the ballots under these circumstances only compounds the fraud. The only way to determine whether there was an honest vote is to conduct a full review of the envelopes in the relevant states. You will find that many of them, tens of thousands, have fraudulent signatures. A full forensic audit is required to ensure that only legal ballots from lawfully registered voters that were properly cast are included in the final count. This election is about great voter fraud. Fraud that has never been seen like
this. This is so dangerous.
It's about poll watchers who were not allowed to watch.
That's not true either.
It's about ballots that poured in, and nobody but a few knew where they came from.
They came from mail-in ballots. Like, Trump continuing to push this is so dangerous.
Leads where I was being congratulated for a decisive, easy victory. And all of a sudden, by morning or a couple of days later, those leads rapidly evaporated. It's about numbers of ballots that were sent.
So Trump knew this, right? Like, so Trump knew this. He kept pushing the idea that mail-in ballots were going to be a problem and that his supporters shouldn't vote by mail. That's the signal that they got from him because he kept railing on mail-in ballots. So, you know what happened? They didn't vote by mail. So when all of these dumps, as Trump calls them, came in, what do you think was going to happen? The overwhelming, I mean, it was very, very overwhelming. I think in some cases it was like over 70 to 80% of them were for Biden. Why? Because Trump kept, from the beginning, months ago, before the election happened, kept saying that these ballots are not legit. So what do you think his supporters did? I mean, and then you're surprised when they actually do start counting the mail-in ballots. Overwhelmingly, they are against you. Like, the idea that Trump keeps pushing this is so dangerous. Is so dangerous, and like, it's frustrating. I'm going to miss my endless hamburgers and hot coffee next year. I'll be forced to eat Trump steaks. So sad. Much sadness. Very sad. Yeah. No. So yeah. So he didn't show up out of nowhere. They were counted as they were, as you said, dumped.
Nobody know where they came from. It's about machinery that was defective. Machinery that was stopped during certain parts of the evening, miraculously to open with more votes. What? It was about many other things, but above all, it was about fraud. This election was rigged. Everybody knows it.
Nope.
I don't mind if I lose an election, but I want to lose
Clearly
an
you
election
do.
fair and swear. What I don't want to do is have it stolen from the American people. That's what we're fighting for, and we have no choice to be doing that. We already have the proof. We already have the evidence.
Cool.
And it's very clear.
All right, Trump.
In the media, and even
all right, Trump. You have all the evidence. You have all the stuff. Show us. Show us the evidence, Mr. Trump. I want to see it. I need to see it. Because if your accusations are true, this would be monumental, don't you think?
Judges so far have refused to accept it. They know it's true. They know it's there. They know who won the election. But they refuse to say, you're right. Our country needs somebody to say you're right. Ultimately, I am prepared to accept any accurate election result. And I hope that Joe Biden is as well. But we already have the proof. We already have tens of thousands of ballots more than we need to overturn all of these states that we're talking about. This is an election for the highest office in the greatest country in the history of the world.
The problem is with all these career politicians, someone there corrupt beyond belief. Well, there is certainly some of them that are true. That's very true. To your previous comment, Sergeant Hoffman, if you want more everyday people, I think maybe, again, the solution might be to move towards a more democratic system, and improve our and move to a more democratic system, get ranked choice voting, and term limits, maybe. All right, I would be more. I think I might be in favor of term limits. More people were involved in local politics. Trump's election narrative wouldn't even gone off the ground. Most people don't have an idea of how ballots are handled. Yeah. By the way, I hope you're doing all right. No problem, Old World Canopy. So how would a normal person be when someone bribes them? Yeah, but like, I think I understand what he's trying to say. Thanks for the follow, Jesus. I think what he's I think I understand what they're trying to say. But to that, I would just say the same thing. Move to a more democratic system. Okay? Try to get ranked choice voting in your state. There you go. You're never going to 100% get rid of corruption, but you will lessen it. The more, I think, in my opinion, the more democratic a system is, and as long as they have strong, transparent institutions, then strong, inclusive, and transparent institutions, the level of corruption will be less. Jeez, Mono. All right, folks. I almost forgot to show for myself. If you enjoyed the content, make sure you smack that follow button, and make sure you head on over to the YouTubes and just quickly hit that subscribe button. Just really quickly. Let's head on over to the YouTube and hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out. I appreciate all the support that you guys have given. You guys make this go.
Every reasonable American should be able to agree, based on what we have already documented, that we need a systematic analysis of the mail-in ballots to review the envelopes. It's about the signature. And if they're on the envelopes, we can only review the envelopes, and that will tell us everything. This is the absolute minimum we should expect. This is not just about my campaign, although it has a lot to do with who's going to be your next president. This is about restoring faith and confidence in American elections. This is about our democracy and the sacred rights that generations of Americans have fought, bled, and died to secure. Nothing is more urgent.
Ain't that the thing?
The only ballots that should count in this election are those cast by eligible voters who are citizens.
Just subbed on YouTube. Thank you. I appreciate that. Did an alert pop up? Government, even in its best state, is necessary, but is a necessary evil in its worst state, an intolerable one. Thomas Paine. This is the wonderful thing about America. We can disagree civilly. Sweet. I completely agree. He literally thinks the only votes that should count are the ones that support him. Yeah, that's true. Right. I mean, like, the things that Donald Trump is talking about right here in this speech, which was done yesterday, like as if
of our country, residents of the states in which they vote,
it's very disturbing. I don't like this.
Before the legal deadline. Moreover, we must never again have an election in which there is not a reliable and transparent system to verify the eligibility, identity, and residency of every single person who casts a ballot. A very, very cherished ballot. Many very smart people have congratulated me on all we've done. The biggest tax cuts in history, regulation cuts, the biggest in history. We rebuilt our military. We took care of our vets like never before. Space Force, and so much more.
Space Force.
But then they went on to say, as big and as important as these events were, the single greatest achievement.
No, don't listen to Mono.
Exactly what you.
Hey, leave Dorko City alone, okay? He's here to learn.
Doing right now, voter integrity for our nation. It's more important than any of the things
don't listen
that we
to Mono.
discussed. If we don't root out the fraud, the tremendous and horrible fraud that's taken place in our 2020 election, we don't have a country anymore. So
We
with the
don't have a
resolve and
country
support
anymore.
of the American people, we will restore honesty and integrity to our elections, and we will restore trust in our system of government. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless America.
Yeah, okay. That was a very disturbing speech. Jeez. Who's going to hold them accountable? Yeah, Sergeant, lots of edits. Yeah, I see the cuts. Sergeant, the best thing that you can do to hold people accountable, to hold governments accountable, is to make a more democratic system and more transparent, so that people can understand and see what's happening. A more transparent, inclusive, strong institutions, in other words, more democracy. That's how you keep things like corruption lower, right? I don't know if we will ever be able to get rid of corruption 100%, like just have a corruption-free government. I don't think that's a thing. But we can reduce that by having a more democratic system. Why is Trump's lawsuits getting thrown out? Oh, because there's no serious evidence. The people are going to hold politicians accountable, or you can set up systems to hold them accountable. Yeah, the systems is more democracy. That's right, Mono. I'm not a good guy. I'm a budget Tim Pool that won't even take my own beanie off. That's true. Oh, there's another option right there. Public financing of elections to curb corruption. Yeah. Maybe either either maybe regulating or outright stopping lobbying, limiting how much you can contribute to elections as a corporation. This goes to the whole like Citizens United thing, where it basically turned elections into slush funds. Maybe starting there, although that in and of itself will be a monumental task. I think that things like that can help. I mean, even when big money wasn't a thing, even when big money was never a thing, there was always some level of corruption. That's right, Darko City. I think that if people were more empathetic, is that the right word? Empathetic to each other, and seriously and genuinely want to help each other, and not just have a my side mentality, not just have a my party mentality, not just have a me mentality, and are genuinely empathetic towards each other. And I mean genuinely, meaning like you actually want this to be a better place. You actually want people to have the basic necessities as a baseline to improve the material conditions of people. Then I think we can make a better place. Yeah, something like that also would work, Astria. Do you play any computer games? I play some. Trump would be more, yeah, that's true, Aldio. If he wasn't so hyperbolic and actually admit defeat and admit when he's wrong, yeah, Trump would be a little bit more believable. Just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit. It's a willingness to try and see others as people first. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's the, like, I think that if the solution to something that Dorko City was saying is, yeah, just empathy. Like Colonel West was saying, it's like it's about caring about each other, right? And I mean genuinely caring about each other. Hey, why can't I? Hey, Real John Doe, how's it going? I agree, I don't know if we'll ever get money out of politics, but might as well try to make it as ethical. Yeah, again, like, I think another way of it goes back to the same thing. A more democratic institution would fare better. Ranked choice voting might limit that. Yeah, I don't care if we have differences of opinions. Basically, it's simple. Try not to break TOS, and as long as we can communicate and have good faith arguments, then there should never be a problem. I don't think it should. I don't see the problem. I think that if you actually like hang out here and listen, you might find that maybe we actually actually do want to move in the same direction. Maybe people deserve basic, human things like food, housing, education, and healthcare. Maybe we do deserve that. Maybe as citizens who work 40 hours a week do deserve some type of do deserve this as a basis of humanity. And I think that as long as we are all, or we can learn, and I'm speaking generally, as a country or as a planet or as a world, can be and learn to be empathetic towards each other, we will move in a better direction. Ranked choice voting failed in Massachusetts election. Unfortunately, not sure why it failed. What were people thinking? I don't know, Doc. I think that I don't know what happened there. Florida might be I think Florida might be open to ranked choice voting. I have a feeling it might be. But where the problem lies with that is people who aren't working right now is an astronomical number. Well, there's a reason for that. There's a pandemic going on. Those people should be taken care of. And tried to turn the ship around with the pandemic, because the pandemic and the economy will go hand in hand. You cannot fix the economy until you address this health crisis. We can't get money out of politics, and we at least make sure we never have to see religion. Yeah. I think most people just don't know what ranked choice voting is. Maybe that's another issue. Especially with automation taking jobs. That's an economics thing. So you're gonna catch me there. Listen, I'm economically illiterate, so I don't even know how I would deal with that. Like, Yang's special solution was like UBI. I think I don't know. I'm skeptical. I just don't know. I think that there'll be other stuff that we have to do, right? I mean, for example, people are afraid of losing jobs in the oil industry if something like a Green New Deal gets implemented, but like somebody needs to build these panels. Somebody needs to build these wind turbines or geothermal plants or whatever renewable source. Somebody needs to maintain these things. So yeah, there's gonna be a need for people to work, right? So I don't know. I think Democrats overlook local politics too much. I mean, look at all the state legislation. Most redistricting will happen next year under direction of Republican legislators. Yeah, the Democratic Party really dropped the ball. Everybody's pointing a finger at each other, but at the end of the day, leadership failed. Remember, Chad, last time I went down a rabbit hole? Yeah. See, there you go, Dorco City. Cool. I'm glad you decided to check that out. The 3 laws of robotics, what does that mean? For turbines, solar, and geothermal? Yeah, there you go. See, but like, somebody's got to build these things. Somebody's got to maintain these things. You know what that means, right? Jobs. And I don't know if it applies to automation. I don't know. I'm economically illiterate. I don't know how that would play out. There's a lot of steps to that. I Robot the movie. Oh, I Robot. Oh yes, now it clicks in my head. Well, solar at least is cheap. Solar is the cheapest one. I'm not too familiar with the others. Solar is actually cheaper than fossil fuel at this time. At least I know for sure Yes, it's super promising. Like if we could move um if we could move away and get as many areas that can sustain it into solar energy, that could be another that could be huge in the fight, or at least a step forward. It definitely wouldn't be a step backwards to fighting climate change. I actually get excited about things like this. I just hope, again, which is our job, to make sure that this keeps being in the discussion, that this administration moves in that direction. Do I hold my breath? No, but I don't know. A loss for moon bases where there's that time to, we're going very soon. We might want that. Man, if we could make moon bases, nah, I don't know. I think we need to take care of things here at home, right? Working on rogues is also dangerous too, and there are ways the other energies are safer. That's true. My oil state gets like 35% of our power from wind, and it keeps increasing. Cool. If you cross into Arizona on the 8th from Cali, there are huge solar farms that sell power to Cali. It's kind of cool. However, I heard it takes a lot of fossil fuels to actually produce them. Maybe the initial cost, but I think afterwards it's pretty good. If I'm correct, I have to research that before I start talking. But I think that the initial there's obviously going to be an initial cost, but once you get all of that going, you can actually detach yourself from fossil fuels, and that in itself will start becoming a net positive for our planet. And as solar has already become even cheaper than fossil fuels, again, like I think just the initial, like if it does take some if it does take fossil fuels to develop these things at the beginning and then nothing after that, I mean, I think that's a huge win. If that's how that works, you take the initial cost up front and then you just make a better planet for the future. I don't know how true that is. I heard that China is like also doing some of their own innovations, but let's just say that is true. I have to double check that. But even if the United States is, or if it wants to be the world leader, because we have a lot of weight around the world, right? Like what we do affects the world. So if we become the innovating country, if we want to be the front runners and get as much of our stuff from renewables as possible, all the way up until we get out of fossil fuels, the rest of the world is going to see us and is going to follow suit, and we'll have actual pull to get an international coalition together, like the Paris Accord or like the Paris Climate Accord, but better, but actually working. And I think we can do that as the US. I think that we are actually more, it is more imperative that we move to be the front runner in this, no matter what anyone else is doing. China is the largest producer and buyer of solar panels. There you go. It doesn't matter, even if like, it doesn't matter. We need to be the front, and we need to be the ones developing and implementing this on a wide scale. Even if, I mean, shouldn't we do it anyways? I mean, I think a healthier landscape and a healthier ecosystem and healthy air are totally worth it, even if. All right, folks, it is 11:26. I do have to get going. Thank you guys so much for for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Mono, for the subscription. Guys, if you enjoy the channel, please make sure you hit that follow button. Please make sure you go on to the YouTubes and hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out. I'll be back on Monday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time, doing news and politics in the mornings. I really enjoyed having you guys here. Thank you to Dr. Heemed, and thank you so much, Carpet Packs, for the raid. I appreciate that. Thank you guys. Thank you, Alio. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. Jesus, Mono. Thank you. I appreciate that. Once again, guys, this happens because of you guys. I really appreciate all the support. And as always, please stay safe. Take care of each other. And as always, I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next stream. See ya! Alright. Let's see. Who should we raid today? I think I raided Tina yesterday. Ben is on. Let's try to get Ben to 100 viewers. 100 viewer Andy. Let's do it. All right, folks. Thanks for the stream. No problem. Thank you for stopping by. All right, folks. We're going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.